Tutorial, and in this video you will learn what is difference between compiled languages and interpreted languages. There is always a confusion between developers that what is difference between compiled language and interpreted language. So step by step, if you follow this video, then I can guarantee that you will never forget, because I'm going to show you through practical example what is difference between this compiled languages and interpreted language. If you see this illustration, then you can understand that Java, C, C++, TypeScript, etc. are compiled language, while JavaScript, Python, PHP, etc. are interpreted language. So what happens actually, in brief, we can understand here. First, we write the source code, then it's converted into bytecode, and that bytecode is interpreted to different machine. So this bytecode is platform independent. That means it can be understood by any one of these machines. In case of interpreted language, there is no concept of bytecode. That means what? The source code itself is read by the compiler or interpreter, not compiler actually, the interpreter, and that one is directly interpreted to target machine. So that is the main difference. You can see there is there are three steps in this. The first one is source code, and then bytecode is converted, and then machine language, it is converted to machine language. But in case you can see there is source code, and directly that source code itself is executed, is interpreted to the machine language. So that is the main difference. So let's see further. Okay, so what is compiled language? In compiled languages, first the source code is checked by compiler software, and then new file is generated which are machine readable code. So you can understand here what happens. First the source code, the source code is checked by the compiler software. Okay, so this is the first step. Source code is checked by the compiler software, and then after checking everything, if all is fine, and then what happens, a new file is generated. That is important. A new file is generated, and now that new generated file is actually understood by the machine. So that is the main concept of compiled language. Okay, I will show you this with practical example, show you that you will relate this theory to practical example, and you will never forget. So what happens here, we have already seen that first this is the source code, and the source code is converted to bytecode, and then it can be read by Windows, Linux, Macintosh, etc. Now let's see interpreted language. In interpreted language, source code is directly, this is the important thing, source code is directly converted to machine readable code. That means what? There is no compiler involved in this. So there are two steps only here. Okay, so in this case what happens, source code is read line by line, and then it is executed that time only. Now let's see a practical example of compiled language, say Java. I'm writing a simple code, public class test, then public static void main. You might be not understanding this code, but I will show you how the compile and execution works. Okay, so now let me show you with practical example. Okay, so just I'm pasting that code here. So public class test, and then this one. Okay, so this is Java code. Guys, if you are not understanding this code, then don't worry at all. The purpose here is to show you how the compilation works. Okay, now I'm going to save it in E drive in Java. Okay, so I'm writing is at test.java. I'm saving, this is the source file. Okay, this is the source file, test.java. I just saved it. So this is our source code. Now what I'm going to do, let's go to this folder. In here I will open command prompt. Okay, so first I will have to compile this. I will write here Java C. That means compile what? Test, T capital, test dot java. Okay, so this is the first phase, the compilation phase. Now when I click test dot java, there is public class. Okay, there is mistake. Okay, there was capital C actually for class, that's why there was error. So now once again, so guys, successfully it got compiled. Successfully this file got compiled because there is no any error. Okay, the file is successfully compiled. So what happened actually, if we go to theory once again, so what is happening here, the source code will be converted to a new file called bytecode. Okay, the class file, new file will be generated. So we will check if really the new file got generated or not. Let's check here. So guys, you can see a new file called bytecode class is generated now. Okay, now the machine will read, that means this file will execute this file, not this file. This is the source file. So when compiler, so what happened actually, you saw here, if there was any mistake, for example, that time what happened, there was one mistake, capital C. So what happened, unless and until we fix the error, then we cannot go to the next step. This is the first checking. Normally what happens in any office, the junior officer first checks the document and then it forwards to the main officer, right? So same happens here. This is the junior officer, so first it checks everything. If everything is fine, in that case what happens, in the next step the file will execute. Okay, so uh, this way there is less chance of error because most of the error is already eliminated, already cleaned. So now once again I will fix it and then it will run successfully. Okay, and as I show you here that a new file called test.class got generated. Now this file will run actually. So now if I want to see hello world, then I will write here java test. So guys, you can see this is hello. So what happened here? There are two steps involved. First, it got compiled, and then now after generating new file test.class, here we don't need to write class, test file is running here. Okay, so that is the concept of compiled language. Okay, and guy, I will not stop here. I will show you one more example, another language, so you will have a better understanding. Let's see here TypeScript. Okay, this language is developed by Microsoft. So in TypeScript is also a compiled language. Okay, it's a scripting language, but it is a compiled language. So let me show you. Just let's copy this code only, and I will just write here. Okay, so basically what we are doing here, just let me remove. Okay, we will compile this one, this file. So I'm saving it. Let's create here either TypeScript here. There is already TypeScript here, so I will name it as data.ts. We are saving this file with ts extension. Okay, so now let's save it. Now what we will have to do, we will compile this first because without compilation it will not run. So guys, let's go to here and find my folder TypeScript. Yeah, here is TypeScript. So once again I will open here CMD. Remember this TypeScript is used for developing Angular project. Okay, here I will write node, sorry, TSC. First we need to compile TSC, that means compilation. Okay, so our file name is data TSC, data dot j data dot ts. ts. Right, now press enter. There is some error. So guys, you can see there is error here as well. That means what? The compiler is checking first, it's not running. Okay, so let's see, it is saying that property name does not exist here. Okay, it is first name actually. We are trying to access here user dot name, but this name does not exist here in the key. That is why it is displaying error. That means what? So this is what compiler do. Okay, it is compiling and it is checking. If there is any problem, then it will show at the time of compilation only. Forget about running, because running is not possible unless it is compiled. Right, now I will fix this error and then run this once again. I will compile this once again. Okay, so successfully it got compiled, and same way like Java, a new file is generated here called data.js. Okay, now this file will be executing, and the transpiler or interpreter will make the machine to understand. Got it? What happens in compiled file? You can see a new file generated, and this file actually will be understood by machine. So it is almost same, there is no difference. Okay, but you can understand, if you want to see some different, then I will show you what happens actually. Compiler what does do. I'm going to write a new code like this. So this is class based example. Okay, forget about if you're not understanding this code, but the idea here is to understand that how compilation works. Now I will compile this code here. Now if you check the data, the property none does not exist. This dot name, where it is? This dot name, this dot name. Okay, so here is emp code and emp name actually. One second, emp name. Okay, so here also you can see there was error. That is why at the compile time it got checked, right? Now successfully it got compiled, and this is the same data.js. Now if you check here, so there is as you can see, there is no class in this. The compiler converted this into interpreter readable language. So now guys, what happened here? I'll write, not in this one actually, in this code I will show output here. So console dot log here emp. Okay, right. So now once again compile, and guys you can see I just run this with node and then data.js. So now we are running here the generated file, and now machine will read this generated file, not this ts file. Okay, so this ts file is first step, and this running one is second step. So I hope that you understand very well that how the any compiled language works, right? Now let's talk about interpreted languages. Let's see the example of the JavaScript simple code. What happens here? Suppose we have written script and script close. Actually, there will be close here. Script close, where A 20, where B 30, and then document dot write A plus B. So what happens here in compiled language? You understand this. In compiled language, first this line is checked and this code is executed directly. There will be no new file. Directly the source file will be reading and executing. Again, this code is done, then here once again it will be checked and run, checked and run. So that is the main difference. Understand? That is the main difference. In compiled language, the whole thing is checked and then run. But in this case, what happens? Line to line. One line is read, then executed. One line is read, executed. This line is read, executed. Okay, line by line it is read, and line by line it is executed. Okay, now we will discuss also about what is scripting language. Okay, so scripting language, if you see example of a scripting language, the scripting language is JavaScript, PHP, Python. Remember, Python is a programming language as well as scripting language. There is spelling mistakes, please ignore that. Okay. And guys, there is one more thing, which is scripting language. Scripting languages are interpreted language. Remember, scripting language are generally interpreted language. Remember, TypeScript is also a scripting language, but that is not interpreted. That is compiled language also. Okay. So generally, 99% chance is that scripting languages are normally interpreted language, but in some cases, scripting language can be compiled language also, as you saw in the case of uh, TypeScript, because TypeScript is also a scripting language. So generally scripting languages are run on the browser. Now let's see the practical example of scripting language. Just I'm writing here script and then script close. Okay, I'll write here where a equals to 20, where b equal to 30, then document dot write a plus b, a plus b. Okay, I will save it as, I mean TypeScript directly. I'm just saving it as sc scripting.js. Directly I'm saving this as scripting.js. Okay, now to run this code, actually scripting.js we could have saved it as scripting.html also, because inside html page it can successfully run. Okay, so scripting.html, I will write it HTML file. Now if we open this file into browser, then guys you can see there is 50 written here. So you can see directly we are running this scripting code. There is no any third code. You saw here ts file was converted into new file, right? Executable file. But in this case the source file is same and running is also same. Understand? There is no second file in this. In interpreted language or scripting interpreted language particularly, you can see. Okay, so now how it checks? Suppose I just wrote here writes, rather than write I just change this writes. Now it shows nothing. I will check inspect and then console. Here I can see it says that there is some error. So what is checking this? This one is being checked by interpreter, a software which is inside the browser. The interpreter software is inside the browser, and that software is actually checking this. So that means what? It checked first the first line. Now you compare here. What did interpreter do? It checked first line. Okay, this is fine. Executed. Check this line. Okay, it's fine. Okay, it's fine. But this line had error, so that is why it stopped executing. Here it is showing us that in the line number this one 6 and column number 10 there is some error, guys. So now hope you understand this for always, that okay, how this compiled language and interpreted language works. So thank you for watching. Still you have not subscribed my channel, then I strongly recommend you please subscribe my channel so that in future also such useful video I will be recording for you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.